Shan Coffee Young is the Managing Director and Lead Consultant of Siel Environmental Services Limited. We spoke with her recently. We're happy to have a longer conversation this time around. Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
And thank you.
Great. Now, waste consultancies. That's one of the main points I want to start off with. What is that, and how does Siel fit into that picture in Trinidad and Tobago?
TK, can you repeat the question again? I lost you a little.
When you
Can
say
you repeat
waste
what you just asked?
consultancies, give me a definition of waste consultancies and the part that you play and your company plays in waste consultancies in Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, so in essence, what we do is that we work with organizations to help them to be able to better manage their waste, so that essentially that waste would now be reduced and diverted away from the landfill sites. We know that SWIMCOL has a Herculean task of managing our landfills across the country, but a lot of the waste that is within the landfill does not need to be there. So I see our role as a bit of hand-holding for organizations, getting them to pay a bit more attention to the waste that they throw away. A lot of what they throw away doesn't need to be at the end of the day. How can we use that waste as a resource or as an input into another process, which incorporates the circular economy principles? But in essence, just helping them to be able, because waste is a valuable resource, it just needs to be managed in a responsible way. So that's essentially what we do for organizations and what waste consultancy is.
And that leads me to ask, what kind of organizations do you do work for? Is it a matter of people looking for you? Is it a matter of you saying, okay, well, this company obviously needs help. Let me reach out to them. How does that conversation start?
So it's a bit of both, actually. There are those who already have in their minds, okay, this is what I am going to do. I just need some help, and start asking the questions. Who do I know? Where they? And then two, it's me reaching out to companies and saying, hi, here I am. I offer this service. Would you be willing to have us come on board and help you manage it? Because a lot of the times, as I've realized, it's not even something that's high on the agenda. So I have a lot of conversations that need to start because they realize, okay, environmentally, the thrust is at climate change. So I help them see, okay, what's the link between waste and climate change? What else can they do? And I also work with not just corporate entities, but MSMEs, micro and small to medium enterprises, as well as NGOs. So there are a number of them who may have a waste project that they want to start. And I'm looking for someone with some expertise that could help them along the way. And I do a lot of B2C business. So I do have the eco-conscious homeowner or consumer that wants to do a little bit more, trying to figure out how they can, and we help them navigate that process as well.
How has COVID-19 impacted your work?
Say that again, please, DK.
How has the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, impacted the work that you do?
Oh, I mean, which business was not affected by COVID-19? I am no different by any means. A lot of the conversations that I was having shut down literally. They came to a dead stop. So I had no choice but to, end things and had to now figure out, okay, what am I going to do? So there was a lot of pivoting that had to happen on my part. The good thing for me is that I had started some online programs. So I actually teach a home composting class online. So what I decided to do is to be able to ramp up my online classes and my online presence. So that's what I pivoted to more so during the pandemic, and then left some of the in-person discussions. And then what I started to do, I said, hey, okay, I know we can't start in person, but let's start, at least resume the conversation virtually. So I was able to, re-engage. I have to give people a while to, because they were hard hit. And I had to give them a while to as we say, catch themselves, to figure out what are they going to do. And then after a while, I said, hey, let's resume the conversation. Let's get things going. Of course, priorities now have shifted because they've lost a lot of money based on lower production rates. So, but the conversation, I'm still having the conversations. I'm still trying to reach out to a number of people. And those people are also reaching out to me. And I'm here with open arms, willing to help.
Now, you're speaking about pivoting and online training programs. You recently posted about events leading up to you teaching a short course at the UWI. Take us through that process, thanks.
Okay, so, and I smile greatly because I have actually a bit of a backstory. I've actually wanted to, after I graduated with my master's, I actually wanted to give back to the university in some way. I did both my bachelor's and my master's at the University of West Indies St. Augustine campus. And when I came back from my Fulbright fellowship, I was like, I need to set up something with you, you know. So it's a long conversation. It did not happen overnight by any means at all. But I am super excited that through the Faculty of Food and Agriculture, the Business Development Unit, has seen the need to create a short course program. This is the first short course in waste management that the unit is offering. The class will be August 24th to 28th, so the dates may have changed slightly, again, with everything that COVID is doing. But yeah, it took a while. You know, I think the conversation may have started earlier this year or late last year, just having conversations with the head of the unit and saying, hey, what do you think of this? The good thing is that he also has a vested interest in waste. So it wasn't too much of a hard sell, but I'm really excited when he said, you know what, Shan, let's do it. We're excited to welcome you on board to the team of facilitators. And yeah, so it's a dream being realized, actually. It's a long dream being realized. So I'm really excited about it.
And what is the course actually about?
What's that?
What is the course? What does it entail?
So so for me, I'm a very practical person. So they're going to get a bit of the foundations and the fundamentals of waste, you know, the type of treatment systems that exist. But they're also going to be able to, if they sit and ask themselves, okay, I want to start a waste project, what can I do? And they're going to get step-by-step guidance as to how do I get things started? How do I start to measure my waste? Because I'm just throwing it away. One of my potential students was telling me, you know, Shannon, my job description says, just remove waste from site. And he's like, that it can't stop there. There has to be more. So for me, being able to address that challenge that he and many others would have faced who are in a similar field, it's not just about removing the waste from you have to understand the kinds of waste that you're generating, the quantities, where does it go, how do I engage the staff if we have new projects coming on board. So the course is going to be able to cover all of that within a week. So I kind of taking everything from here and compressing it into a week.
So when you finish with them, the head at it will be positively fat up. But in terms of the engagement and understanding, we continue the conversation when we come back, because there is a book that you are dealing with, and we want to get a little more information about that when we come back. Shan Coffee Young, don't move a muscle, stay right here. Welcome back. We're speaking with Shan Coffee Young, a managing director of Siel Environmental Services Limited, and we were just going to get the little zeppo about the book that she is behind. So let us know about that, please, Shan.
Sure. So again, I worked so a bit of a background before I jump into the story is that I worked for the solid waste management company for a number of years. And it's there I found my love of waste education, actually. And I've always felt that even when I give lectures and presentations, I always wanted to leave something behind. Fast forward to starting Siel Environmental and becoming a mother of small people. My daughter, more so, is very, very keen on the environment, warms my heart every day. But I wanted to really have something that I can leave with her and leave with other children to help them understand, because I give a number of presentations at schools all the time, teaching children about what happens to their waste. Why is littering good or bad? And it's amazing that the children know the answers. Sometimes it is the adults in their lives that teach them the wrong thing. That's our next conversation. So with all of that and my daughter's own interaction with waste in the house here, and I call her the little recycling guru in our home, I wanted to have something tangible. So I created and wrote it's a series of books. And so the first one is actually, today I just had a call with my wonderful editor. So we are in the process. It should be launched by the time school opens, or definitely mid to late September. And it's about a young girl figuring out what happens to her waste. So I am super, super excited. It's the first of 3 in a series. And it's going to be, I'm going to be placing it everywhere. You're going to get tired of me. But it's really, really exciting, because to me, working with the children and having the children, as I say, be the hero, they are the ones that have to understand that they have the power to make the change. Children are powerful agents of change, and they are the ones that can make the difference. So I've created a program to start with them. I also have another program that I'm developing for teenagers, because, you can't deal with them the same, and they're always on their phones and their devices and so on. So I want to create another program that would encourage them, because they are the future leaders. But this is just the beginning of a full-fledged waste literacy program for schools. And it's just the first aspect of it. There are many other things. I'm looking at games, at applications, everything that using blockchain wherever I can, because, technology is changing all the time. And I really want to be able to encourage them to do things better than the generations gone before.
No, I appreciate the enthusiasm that I just feel coming at me in waves when you're talking about this. And it seems as though you've really found a calling. But with that in mind, I'm wondering, what has your experience been thus far in changing people's behaviors? What works and what does not work when it comes to waste?
That is a very loaded question, DK. And let me see if I could be as honest as I can be on television. It has not been easy by any means. I have had those days and times I was like, this does not make any sense. These people are not listening. They don't care about what I have to say. But I realized that change like this takes time. It does not happen overnight. I remember I was having a bit of a rough day, and I was talking to someone that I look up to in this sector, and I said, you know what, I think I'm done, And he said that, no, don't you dare give up. There are other things that require change. Now, is there room for the powers that be to make implement the necessary mechanisms to encourage people to do more? Yes. But one of my things is that my father taught me this very, very young, is that you always leave a place cleaner than you've met it. That's actually the conservation law in scouting. For all of those who may be in scouting that's listening, they would have learned that. And my father taught that to me at a very, very young age. So if I learned that I need to take responsibility for the waste that I am generating, I think that is the same for every single person. Each one of us generates waste. Each organization generates waste. But we keep saying that it's not my responsibility, somebody else. Well, that's what we have. And we call organizations names. That's what we have so and so for. They have to clean up after us. No. They weren't the one that ate the box of chicken and chips. They weren't the one that drank the water in the bottle. So why do they have to clean up after you? You need to start taking personal responsibility for the waste you generate. And that is essentially what all of this work that I do is for. It's to transform the way people think and act towards waste. So they understand that they have a role to play in it too. It's not just SwimCall, it's not just the regional corporation. They have a part to play. And until we all play the parts that we need to, we'll just be, as my mom says, spinning top in mud. We'll just be doing the same things over and over and expecting something different. So, but it is time for us to start doing things differently. We're an island state. We're quickly running out of space. Nobody wants to know that there's a landfill in their backyard. So we have to start really doing things differently. Too much, 85% or 84 roughly percent of our waste ends up in the landfill and it's recyclable. Why is that ending up there? So all of those things, I ask people questions because questions bring clarity. And I want people to understand the role that they play. So that is essentially what we are trying to do. It's no means an easy task, but there are the good days, there are the not so good days. But I keep going because I know at the end of the day, something like this will take time. It will not happen overnight. But I do believe that there are other things that need to support the kind of work that we're doing as well.
You started to speak at a point in time. I felt like one of your little people, and that's even without a guilty conscience. But you spoke about the fact that so much goes into the landfills that can be recycling. Is recycling expensive? What are some of the startup costs for recycling projects for individuals or companies with low to medium technologies or budgets?
Well, the thing is, the cost of equipment still sits on the upper end. There are a lot of organizations. Through my own work, I've met a lot of equipment suppliers. So when you're thinking about bringing in a basic piece of equipment, it can be anywhere from 50,000. You might be able to find some less, and that's in US dollars, all the way up to the millions of dollars. So essentially, it is about, and that's why I said before about the mechanisms that need in place to support this kind of work. Because if you're going into making a new product, eventually you would need to spend a lot of money, and requiring capital is something that you would need at the start. Now, are there things that you can do at a low cost? Yes. I have been looking at, like, one of the things that we are working on is our organic waste program for businesses. And I'm trying to figure out how to keep things done at a low cost. But is there higher tech equipment that costs thousands of dollars? Yes. So, but my words to my own self have always been, start where you are and then work your way up. So if I could make things manually until I could afford a bigger piece of equipment, I'm willing to do that. But in the waste sector, the cost of equipment is quite expensive. But there are a number of things that you can do to start on the lower end. But you have to decide that this is something that you want to get into, especially when you're getting to the manufacturing of a new product.
But your that is where a lot of things, though, Shan. Yeah. Online, books coming out just now. You also distribute. I know one of the things is Vegway, but you recently began distributing, if I'm correct, a composting system. We have just over a minute, but tell us about that, please.
Right. So I'm no longer doing the compostable food containers, but I'm still in composting. So I've just started a monthly subscription service for the collection of organic waste to be turned into compost. So people can look out for that. Follow me on social media and they'll get more information. I'm still working behind the scenes, so I don't want to share too much about it yet, but that's generally what it is. So we are really, really excited. I've been talking to a couple of business owners about it already, and there's like, Shan, whenever you are ready, we are. So it's definitely happening as well. So I'm very excited. Well, you can tell, I'm always excited. I'm always enthusiastic about things. So because this, to me, means a lot. This kind of work means a lot to me. And it's something that I'm doing it because I want my children to benefit from a cleaner country. And that's as simple as it is.
And that is a beautiful point to end this conversation. Thank you so much, Shan Coffee-Young, Managing Director, Lead Consultant for Siel Environment Services Limited. And we also want to thank you for tuning in, joining us. On behalf of the entire news team, thank you once more and have a good night.